guys. I'm William.
And I'm Jacob.
This is Methodical Thinkers podcast, where we both think very, very deeply into everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and today, in celebration of the spooky season, we're going to just be talking about some spooky things. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, some true crime and urban legends.
Yep, and I picked out some good creepypasta that I found. One of them is pretty famous, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to start off by asking how you're doing, Jacob. It's been a while, you know.
I'm doing pretty all right. Things happen.
Just relaxing.
Yeah, just
Relaxing.
chillaxing.
It's been a while. I was excited to get back in this room and.
I know we haven't filmed in 2 weeks. It's been a hot sec.
You know what's so special about spooky season that
people love it because they like getting the bejeebies out of them.
I think for me, I think people like it because it's not like August and September are like transition months.
August and September are boring.
They're boring. Yeah, they're boring months. Nothing.
And especially in Arizona, August is like hell, and then September it's just like everyone else is experiencing fall, where we're like.
So in October is
still on fire.
It's that perfect month, and then you cap it all off with October 30th, 31st. I don't remember the day.
It's somewhere around there.
Where we celebrate Halloween and we surround around our infatuation with fear.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
What could be better than that?
I mean, there's comedy and fear.
I don't know if this is true, but I hear the Mexicans, like October 30th is the Day of the Dead, right?
Dia de los Muertos.
Exactly. This is a Spanish speaker here. Hola! That's all I can say, kiddos.
I don't know. I don't remember what the day it is. It's around it's like the same.
Okay. We're making a spooky episode for the Halloween season, and we don't even know when Halloween is. Hold up.
It's okay. We can look it up really quick. I'm
looking it up right now. I think. Wow, we look dumb.
What?
No, it's okay.
I haven't trick or treated in like 4 years.
Oh, I quit doing that when I was 12.
Or like 3 years.
I was like, Mom, I'm too cool for this. Not really. I thought
if I had a seriously chill group, I would, potentially do it, but
I'd be completely down to do it, like, to mess around. Like, let's scare the little kids. No, kidding. I'm not cruel. Come on.
Dude, hurry up.
Hold on.
You're taking forever.
Halloween. Oh, yeah. That's how you spell it. Don't worry.
We don't even know how to spell Halloween.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Doing a Halloween.
I'm working on
it.
Okay, it's the 31st. Okay, we finally got it.
October. Okay, there's 31 days in October.
We are really good at this.
So, I think it would just be good to just think about some scary experiences of our own first.
Well, I have.
Everyone's had
hold up, slow down. We haven't even got to know how you're doing. Come on.
Oh, you're right.
Let's tell the people how you're doing.
How am I doing? I've been very great, actually. I've been doing very great.
You want to tell us about a little story what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Or we want to leave that one out?
I was learning how to ride a skateboard because I'm going to be going to university next year, and I kind of want to get around easier, I was doing pretty good for like 3 hours skating around.
Yeah, he was doing fantastic.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm trying to make a very sharp turn, and I completely eat it.
Ooh.
And I completely sprained my foot.
Yeah, that's
Yep, I have a disability chancla on right now.
That's how the game rolls.
Yep.
So
that was a pretty scary experience because I thought I broke my foot, or not my foot, but my toes, because they
look.
I'm not going to describe
really
them, but they
bad.
look gnarly.
Yeah.
They look gnarly.
They look pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
But
yeah, let's go into some spooky stories about ourselves.
I want to give it a preface here is that I'm not into the whole I love media centered around the supernatural and like ghosts and stuff, but I've never personally believed in like ghosts
Well, I've never experienced anything.
I've
like
never
that.
experienced. I never had a ghostly experience. I've never had sleep paralysis.
Yeah, me neither.
You know, so it's kind of, you know, I kind of have to think very deeply here. You know, let me see. I might have wrote something down here.
What do you got? What do you got, kiddo?
Well, a lot of the scary stories I have
Mm-hmm.
come from like things that I've like listened to, read, or like played. Like I
What?
love like the horror genre. Something I like, and I have a lot of pretty freaky stories from those types of things.
Playing like video games like Outlast and stuff.
Yeah, Outlast is one of my favorite video games ever, and it scared the shit out of me.
It's a great game.
It's a great game. Yeah. Same thing with Resident Evil 7. I mean,
Also a great
the
game.
atmosphere is great. I love some Stephen King novels.
Yeah.
The Shining's a good one. It's been a while since I've read it.
Did we see it together?
We did not see it, but I do want to read it.
When
That's
did I
3
see
times
it
the
with?
size of the Bible.
I saw it with someone.
I think you might have seen it with one of your friends.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw it with Danny. That's
Probably.
right.
That makes sense. I tried to see it, but I was not of the age to see it yet. I was a year younger.
Oh, I wasn't of age either, but
But I should have came with that.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of an empty book on scary stories.
You know, same. Like, I don't really have too many personal. I can't really recall any personal like stories that's happened to me. I mean, I was dumb and decided to go hiking at 5 a.m. in the morning when it was raining out, and I dislocated my kneecap. So that was
Wow.
fun, and that was pretty scary. But
How'd the dislocation happen when you were?
I was trying to climb over this ledge, and my foot got stuck by a rock, and it stopped my foot from rotating with my body. So my leg was like
So
all pigeon-footed, and like just went pop, and then
So your leg
ooh.
got caught, huh?
Yeah, and I fell, and it hurt a
And
lot.
then, oof.
Oof, yeah. Big L. Okay, so, but other than that, I really don't have like paranormal or
Any like realistic stories that you're willing to
um.
tell us? It's all in the past. So
I
we
mean,
won't-
yeah. I mean,
it's not the current you. If it's
well, yeah. So, when I was a little boy, not really. I was like 14. I was thinking, yo, I'm cool. I know the internet. I know what this thing called the deep web is. And I decided to go on it, looking for trouble because I was dumb and ignorant about the deep web. And, it's an urban legend, okay, that red rooms exist, okay?
Mhm.
People say it, but I believe it because I found myself in one. They say that the internet would be too slow to run a broadcast and all that, but that's not the case, kiddo. Like, I found myself watching a kid getting tortured, and that was seriously one of the scariest like things I have ever seen. And like, it still is one of the scariest things to this day.
and you didn't like seeing it, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course not. This kid was like my age. He was like 13. He was home alone.
Did you stop going and messing with that type of stuff?
Oh
since
yeah,
then?
I'd stopped going down in the deep web for that reason. I mean, I still play around down there because it's fun, but you can find funny things down in the deep web. Sidetrack. Deep web has a very bad or a negative notation to it because it's
like-
assumed that it's filled with like child porn and all that crap. But I mean, yes, those things exist down there, but it's not it's not like the first thing you click on and it's like, oh,
You think it gets
shit.
you think it gets its rep from like creepypasta and stuff like that?
Yeah, you got a lot of people that make up stories because it's easy. Like, the literal name of it is deep web. Like, It sounds like, ooh, what's
The
that?
shadow
And no
net.
one talks about it, by the way. No one talks about the deep web. So it's like, when you hear it, it's like, what's this deep web thing that you're talking about? There's 3 billion different websites that no one's ever seen on this thing. Like, like the only way you can access is with a Tor browser. Yeah, so people lose their shit over hearing about the deep web and the stories about it. So, yeah.
Hmm. And it's not as the deep web is not as it is described in stories. Is
No, not at all.
it?
It's
Not at all.
in fact kind of boring.
Kind of boring.
But my 14-year-old self thought it was wild. But
Wild that you're doing it.
yeah.
Maybe it's because it was like a daring experience.
Well, I mean, at 14, I discovered what CMD was. It's like, for those who don't know, it's your command prompt on Windows 7 and Windows. It pretty much doesn't really do anything on your computer, but like when I was a kid, I thought it was like Hacker Man. Like I thought I could, I was like, whoa, cool. I can do crazy stuff now. But, not really. I can change the color of it, but that's it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's literally what I could do with it back then. And I was like, oh crap, I'm a hacker now.
I mean, I know when I was little, there have been times when my mom disappeared in the store and I got really scared.
Oh
I
yeah.
think we've all had that one.
I think we've all had that one too, because I remember having that. I've experienced that before. Okay, so what do we want to talk about next? We can talk about true crime.
We could try like our favorite scary like things in the media if you wanted to, or some of our favorite scary stories, or we could just go right into the meat and potatoes and just go right into the stories we found.
I mean, is there any media,
Like
creepy
books, video games you like, movies.
I mean, I'm with William. I love Red Dead.
Red Dead. Red Dead is also very good. It came out today.
I know. I don't. I've been thinking about it a lot. No, Resident Evil 7 and Outlast. Those are really good games. They're very entertaining. There's some other indie games that are really cool as well.
There was this one good horror game called Corpse Party. Like, unfortunately, it was like anime, so like,
Gets a bad rap.
Yeah, but it's a pretty good game. I like.
Sorry, kids that like anime out there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but your community needs to get cleaned up. Get some help, please. Go outside, see the sun. Yeah, I don't know. But
let's get into some of these stories we found.
You got a story, or you want me to start?
I'm gonna start first.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So mainly, what I've collected is like a series of like creepypasta.
Yeah, let's hear them.
All right, guys. This is the first story I have. It's titled "Darkness in the Rearview Mirror," and there's no author name, but it's from creepypasta.com. I found it. And there's gonna be a link in the description. So there's gonna be total credits. We're not stealing this. The person who made this, I think they offered a lot of great descriptive wording. And this is really, it's not necessarily scary, but it can be like chilling if you think about like the kind of, in my opinion, a little bit collaborative use of words.
Hold up. Yeah, just for all you guys know, like all our stories will be down in the description, so you guys can have fun, spook yourselves
Reading
out.
them and stuff.
Yeah.
We're not stealing these. These are not ours. But we are going to read them because we find them entertaining.
Yeah.
All right. I have always been uneasy driving alone at night. It was the worst the first few times, when I had just gotten my license, but the nagging fear has never gone away to this day. It's disorienting to look into the mirrors and see nothing, and I mean nothing, but the consuming blackness of the night. It makes me hesitant to check the mirrors should I see the dark void, or worse, someone sitting in my back seat staring at me. In the summer of 2013, I found myself driving home alone on Highway 902 from a party. It was also midnight, and needless to say, it was pitch black. As was usual at night, I was on edge. I had the radio off and could hear nothing but the muffled roar of tires on pavement and the dull hum of the engine. I stole a glance into the middle rear view mirror and saw nothing but darkness through the black window. I knew that I looked backward and saw nothing. I'm sure of it. Just the seemingly endless blackness of the night. I remember it so clearly because not 10 seconds later, a car passed me to the left, headlights on. I had one of those sudden adrenaline rushes like when you think you see a person outside your bedroom window when it's just a tree, or when you start awake at night with a feeling of falling. 10 seconds later, nothing had been behind me. Suddenly, a car. I drove all the way home shivering and knowing something was off. The next morning, I found two sets of scratches near the back of my van. One was on the left rear and one was on the right. The car was pretty old. They could have been there for months, but that was the first time that I distinctly remembered seeing them. In hindsight, there are two possibilities for what happened that night. Possibility 1. By some glitch in reality or something paranormal, the other car had somehow appeared behind me within 10 seconds of me checking my mirror. Like some weird ghost crap or something. However, the second option is what makes my blood run cold whenever I consider it. It didn't even occur to me until months after the fact, but it makes me dread driving alone at night even more. Possibility 2. The car was normal. It had approached me from the rear and passed to my left. However, something large and wide and as black as the night had been clinging to the rear of my car, obscuring my view through the window and leaving deep scratches on the sides. And I had inadvertently driven it home with me.
Damn.
Pretty clever use of words.
Yeah, actually.
It's a not as like like gut wrenching, shivering
Yeah,
fear.
It's not over the top. I'm not gonna lie.
But I picked it because I love the author's descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was actually something I didn't expect. I thought it was gonna be like a murder story or something like that. But no, it was simply an illusion of imagery that the author provided.
Yeah. So, what do you think was?
What do you think the possibility was?
Yeah.
Well, considering the scratches, just based on the scratches alone, considering that if it was just a normal car and she didn't see it, the car would have had to hit her.
Yeah, that's true.
But because of the scratches, there was definitely something latched to the car.
Yeah, at one point.
And it's home with her.
You'll never know. I mean, at least she's all right.
Or you could say, metaphorically, the darkness within her grasped with the car and came home inadvertently with her.
Yeah,
Okay.
it could be.
Not a physical monster, but a metaphorical figure.
Yeah.
That's the beauty about writing. You can, even if the author didn't mean it, that's what I see.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I see. So it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, actually.
Pretty powerful stuff.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it messed up a little bit because the sentence structure was a little bit like.
That's fine. We're not the greatest.
It's okay.
readers.
We're not Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
We're not heavy critics.
So, I'm turning the page a little bit to some true crime.
True crime.
Bang bang. So my boy, he's not my boy because I'm not gonna associate myself with a killer. Come on, that's not funny. There's this guy named Jake Evans. Okay. Now I'm gonna read the story up here, but get some preface. Did I say preface?
Preface. You said it correctly.
Okay. Yeah, he's just a 17-year-old boy that got inspired by a Halloween movie. But here you go.
Like a Halloween movie or the movie Halloween?
The movie Halloween.
Okay. So with Michael Myers.
Okay, here's the story. Jake Evans was a 17-year-old boy who lived with his sisters Mallory and Emily, and his mother Jamie, in their upscale home in a gated community of Alando, Texas. I hate names.
You hate specific.
I
Like,
hate names.
You hate proper nouns.
Yeah. However, after watching Halloween, a movie about a psychopathic kid who slaughters a school bully, his sister's boyfriend, and his mother's boyfriend. Jake felt inspired to do the same to his family. Jake opt for a 22 caliber because he didn't want his mother and his sister to feel pain in their dying moments. On the day of the murders, Jake told Mallory that his mother needed her. As soon as she stepped out of her bedroom, Jake shot her. She began rolling down the stairs and was shot again. Jake then made his way downstairs where his mother was and shot her three or four times. He ran back to his room, started screaming about how messed up he was. Realizing that Mallory was still alive, he returned to her, apologized, and fired at her a few times. He also shot his mother again to ensure her death. Jake immediately called 911 and turned himself in. He killed them because his family was turning into the people he hated, and his sister was a racist. Jake was sentenced to 45 years in prison. I messed up a little bit, but get the gist of the story.
So this was this like a manuscript of what he did and how he shot his like mother?
No, so he was inspired by a movie, so he killed his sister Mallory and his mom Jamie. So Emily was not home at the time
this
because
is
Molly.
a real thing?
Yes, this is real life.
Oh wow.
This happened back in 2008. I meant 2013. Yep, in Texas.
He just murdered his.
Yeah,
family? How do you think you can get that inspired by a film?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I think something just clicked up here.
I guess. I have never been inspired to do anything like that in my entire life.
I mean, not most people are.
Like, I haven't been. I don't get inspired too often by films in general.
I mean, I've been inspired by books, like the lessons they give, but I've never been like, okay, Michael Myers killed several people in Halloween, so I'm gonna go out and kill several people like he did.
Oh yeah, I've
it's not a rational thought.
No, it's not.
He may have had something like maybe psychopathy.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe a little psychopathy.
I mean, he did feel sorry.
He did have he had empathy, so he just wanted to do it because
he's like, oh shit, look at that, it looks fun.
And you can become invincible. Do you think you can become invincible?
I guess. I guess that's what he felt. But yeah.
That's heavy. That's tough.
So.
Hey, I have.
Yeah, let's get another story out.
Second story going, and this one is a internet creepypasta based on our good old friendly entrepreneur Mickey Mouse. The one that bought out like several movie companies and is becoming a unified company in Hollywood,
aka Monopoly.
It's gonna be Uni Hollywood. Well, maybe this story will make them not that. So it's called suicidemouse.avi. This is famous on YouTube. There's a lot of videos. There's a lot of videos that are done on it, but there's a lot of different versions of the story. This was just one of the easiest ones I found. It's on Wattpad.com, and it's called suicide.avi by Laughing Julie 123. Very thought-provoking name.
Oh yeah, very.
But basically, just some background information on this story, really quick. So there was a internet clip that surfaced of like an old reel of a 1940s Disney Mickey cartoon of just like completely distorted noise, distorted images. And from what I understand, it's been a while since I've done super research on this whole topic, but apparently the creepypasta goes that people literally killed themselves after witnessing the clip. It's kind of similar to the suicide Squidward.
Oh yeah,
story.
I
If you've
remember
ever heard of it. But let me just get right on my way. Do you remember those Mickey Mouse cartoons from the 1930s? The ones put out on DVD a few years ago? Well, I hear there's one that was unreleased, even to the most avid classic Disney fans. According to most sources, it's nothing special. It's just a continuous loop, like the Flintstones, of Mickey walking past 6 buildings for 2 or 3 minutes before fading out. Unlike the QT tunes put in other cartoons, however, the song on this cartoon wasn't a song at all. It was just a constant banging on a piano's keys for a minute and a half, going to white noise for the remainder of the film. It wasn't the jolly old Mickey we've come to love either. Mickey wasn't dancing or even smiling. He was just kind of walking as if you or I would walk, with his head tilted to the side as if he kept his dismal look upon his face. Up until a year or two ago, everyone believed that after it cut to black, that was it. When Leonard Maltin was reviewing the cartoon to be put into the complete series, he decided it was too junk to be included. However, he wanted to have a digital copy due to the fact that it was a creation of Walt's. When he had a digitalized version on his computer, he noticed something. The cartoon was actually 9 minutes long and 4 seconds. 9 minutes and 4 seconds long. This is what my source, an acquaintance of Mr. Maltin and a personal assistant to one of the higher Disney executives, emailed to me in full. After it cut to black, it stayed like that until the 6th minute before going back to Mickey walking. The sound was different this time, though. Instead of the piano, there was a murmuring. It wasn't actually talking. It was more like a gurgling cry. As the noise got more indistinguishable and loud over the next minute, the picture began to get strange. The sidewalk started to go in directions that seemed impossible based on how Mickey was walking. The dismal face of the mouse was slowly curling into a smirk, too. On the 7th minute, the murmur turned into a blood-curdled scream and the picture was becoming more obscure. Colors were happening that shouldn't have been possible at the time. Mickey's face began to fall apart with his eyes rolling to the bottom of his chin and his curled smile pointed upward on the left side of his face. The buildings became rubble floating in the midair and the sidewalk was still impossibly navigating in warped directions. Mr. Maltin became disturbed and left the room, sending an employee to finish the video and take notes of everything happening up until the last second and immediately store the disc of the cartoon in the vault afterwards. The distorted screaming lasted until 8 minutes and a few seconds in, when it abruptly cuts to Mickey Mouse's face at the end of every video, with what sounded like an out of tune music box playing in the background. This happened until the last 30 seconds, but I haven't been able to find out what happened in those final seconds. From a security guard under me who was making rounds outside that room, I was told what happened after. After the video ended, the employee stumbled out of the room looking pale. He repeated, "Real suffering is not known," 7 times before taking the guard's pistol and shooting himself. The only thing that I could get out of Leonard Maltin was that the last frame was a piece of Russian text that roughly said, "The sights of hell bring its viewers back in." As far as I know, no one else has seen it. However, there has been dozens of attempts to get the file out onto the internet by employees inside these studios, all of whom were promptly terminated of their jobs. Whether or not it got online is up for debate. But if rumors serve me right, it's online under the name suicidemouse.avi. If you ever find a copy of it, I want you to never view it. Contact me by phone regardless of the time. When a Disney death is covered up as well as this, it means this has to be something huge.
You know, I've heard that Disney has covered up quite a few deaths. That even happens in Disneyland.
I've heard just in general, Disney is one of the very shady, malicious.
They seem to be a little too good to be true.
You know, a man named Walt Disney making, cartoon and media for all kids to resonate with for the rest of their lives, and you're telling me there's not a little bit of, I mean, there's a lot. There's this Disney Vault conspiracy. There's like,
oh yeah, that's true.
Walt Disney could have been an alien. He could have been a cyborg.
Confirmed. Aliens
he
confirmed.
Could have been a cyborg.
Right here, right now, we have confirmed that aliens exist.
What do you think about this story?
I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting.
I mean,
again,
I
this
don't know. I
the
don't.
author
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to
is
feel about it.
Laughing Julie 123.
Great ABI. Papa Mia.
SuicideMouse.avi.
Yeah, you know.
Don't worry if you somehow listen to this Suicide Mouse or Suicide.
We have yet to die. We've seen it with our own bare eyes.
But don't worry, you got credit for your story.
So, I got a little quickie story. Okay.
Quickie.
Okay. It's about Jeffrey Dahmer. Again with the names. I can't.
Jeffrey Dahmer. Let me. Well, how's the name spelled?
Dahmer.
Yeah, he said it right.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so this isn't really about him, but just know that he killed people. Okay, this is just about a little backstory on him.
This is a real killer?
Yes, another real killer.
But is this like a
True crime.
made up story of the real killer?
No, this is completely real. This is how he killed.
You went nonfiction.
Yeah, I went nonfiction about this. I'm a nonfiction reader. This describes how he killed and how he took care of his victims' bodies.
Oh.
Okay.
Is it like Ted Bundy style?
No, Ted Bundy would
Necrophilia?
kill them, kill them, drop them off in the forest, and then 2 days later come back and then have sex with their bodies.
Necrophilia.
Yummy. But Jeffrey Dahmer, he did the old boiling the bodies and getting rid of the evidence.
In like Breaking Bad acid
barrel. So this is his account. This is from his mouth directly. I separated the joints, the arm joints, the leg joints, and had to do 2 boilings. I think I used 4 boxes of sodium hydroxide for each one. Put in the upper portion of the body and boiled that for about 2 hours. And then the lower portion for another 2 hours. The sodium hydroxide removes all the flesh, turns it into jelly-like substance, and it just rinses off. Then I lay the clean bones in a light bleach solution, left them there for a day, and spread them out either on a newspaper or a cloth to let them dry for about a week in a bathroom. So,
wow.
He used to boil the
We
bodies.
completely dismembered bodies and then we'll just throw them in.
Yeah, you
the
boil the
barrel.
bodies and then take
Sorry.
the bones and crush them
So-
up.
You're the chemist here. You're the chemist.
Yeah, yeah.
Sodium hydroxide.
Mhm.
Why that?
So sodium hydroxide is a base. It's very basic, and what it does is that since we have sugar in our cells,
And
since,
sugar is like a low pH where it's like an acid, or is
well, what sodium hydroxide does to your skin is turn it into soap. And when you put that in a water solution, a highly basic solution, and you're boiling it at 220 degrees Fahrenheit, that eventually, gets into the flesh and then eventually peels off like jelly, like he says.
Oh wow.
So, I mean,
So and then eventually that barrel just turns into like a pool of guts and
yeah, if you
organs.
boiled the bones longer, the bones would get brittle, and then
they would start falling apart.
yeah, all you'd have to do is crush them up as well.
Wow. So how did he get caught then, or did he ever get caught?
He did get caught, and that's why we have that account. He never got caught for the bodies. He got caught for attempting.
Wow.
So when you try to kill people, that's where you get caught. To what I've heard, most stories I read, that's usually because they're attempting.
Yeah, you're a killer. You know
Yeah.
this off the top of your head. But so we're finished with all our stories, and I have to say, at least, okay, besides like the window one, dark I can't remember the title. It's been 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, author. If you ever listen to this, I don't think you will.
You probably won't.
You probably won't. But if you ever do,
Mm-hmm.
I did like your story. But the difference between that story and the rest is that one was more like figurative language, imagery centered. It wasn't necessarily scary. It was just like a play on words, which is also very talented skill.
Yeah, it really
What I
is.
liked about at least the rest of them was that they were grilling, they were chilling, and all those types of adjectives you would use to describe something that's scary and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily frightening. It's more of like gruesome and
Yeah.
chilling.
Well, I mean, how people kill other people is pretty terrible. But yeah.
I just wanted to, just before we wrap things up, I just want to ask one basic question.
Yeah.
Why do you think we become interested in such like scary things? Like why is Stephen King, aside from him being a good author, why are novels like The Shining and It so fascinating to us
Well,
as people?
I think is because we live pretty boring lives if you think about it. I mean, we wake up, eat, go to work, come home, tired, and then eat again and go to sleep. Basically. Um so when we hear about a story that's, out of the norm in our daily lives, it piques our interest.
I mean, how long has it been since there's been an interesting serial killer? I mean, it's kind of like the thing where it's like this is probably a dumb point, but it's like mass serial killers. They're
Mhm.
interesting mainly. Well, at least for me, it's interesting about how they got away with so much sometimes. And how
Well, yeah, I mean, especially how they get away from being caught for 30 years plus. I mean, BTK killer, he just got caught after like 40
Really?
years. Yeah.
Yikes.
But like, yeah, it's just like these type of stories pique people's interests and get them.
To me, it's just a subversion of what we actually like. Cause like we don't go. I mean, some people. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like horror, but I'm saying an average person doesn't go out of their way to watch watch or read something that's like kind of horrific in a sense.
Only if you're like interested, if that's an interest of yours.
For me, it's a subversion of what is like. It's like two sides of a coin. You have one that's happy and you're like nonchalant about everything, and then
Like in the media, like this is why I like reading gruesome true crime, is because in the media when the story does
they
break,
underplay it.
it's not that they're underplaying it. They censor it heavily because it's gruesome. Like hearing about how Jeffrey Dahmer, uh, chopped up people and boiled them. That isn't something you would ever hear on the radio or on a TV. So that's why I like looking out and like reading these stories because it's real, it's true.
And for me, when I'm thinking of something like suicidemouse.abi, and I'm reading like a book or like a movie or a video game, even video games actually that are based on like a horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really the atmosphere of it and just the overall like, what would you say, mood, atmosphere,
Yeah.
and for books, imagery is especially important.
Well, yeah, it plays on your imagination, which
Yeah.
is really cool. But yeah, this is the Methodical Thinkers podcast, and thanks for listening. And thanks for the continued support as we're doing our best.
We are signing off.
But for all those trick or treaters out there, even though we have an audience that's kind of older, if you take out your little sister or little brother, be safe, have fun,
Yep.
and enjoy this spooky
And,
season.
have a good Halloween. Next episode's going to be about why we decapitate turkeys. Goodbye.
But yeah, crack open a book or something.
Yeah, crack. Yeah.
Bing.
Adios, amigos. Love you.
Yeah. Bye.
Peace.